Oh, we're back.
That's my bad.
Yep.
Oh, shit, man. It's been a long time since you've been in here.
Yep.
Trying to remember the last fucking setup because I think it was just the fucking couch was here, you know?
I think the last time I was here, Santana was here. Before that, when it was just me and you, was in the bedroom there.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I was here when Santana was here, so.
Okay. I know it was kind of fucking like last minute when I hit you up, but I was going through my guest yesterday, my buddy Justin. I started talking to him about how like kind of in my 20s and 30s, I didn't really feel like I was cultured and like I was pretty just vanilla, you know, so to speak.
Yeah.
But the older and older I get, man, I fucking find myself being real thankful for actually how cultured I actually am.
We live in Phoenix, so like it's I know it's not looked at as like a cultured city, but it's probably the fourth biggest city in the United States. So
yeah.
You've grew up with actually a lot of different types of people, and you've had a lot of different types of friends.
Well, between the diversity that I grew up with.
Like you grew up on the north side, you grew up with predominantly white people,
yeah.
and some Hispanics, like a sprinkle of Hispanics, and plus us, and then
yeah.
and then, but you've always kind of made friends, kind of like me. You make friends with people that are outside your friend group. Like you've had Eastern European friends, like plenty.
Oh yeah.
I think you've had like a Muslim friend or something, and a black cowboy friend, and like I mean, you've had like, I mean, I'm the same way. I got friends right now because of the broadcasting. I have friends all over the planet
all over
now.
the fucking all over the
planet.
place.
So yeah, that's in our blood, I guess. I don't know.
I thought it was fucking super cool. Also too, like I used to look at it growing up as a weird thing, but like I said, the more I get older, the more I'm kind of like thankful that even in our family, the diversity. I look back at it now and I'm like, how much of an impact it actually had. Like, I'm really not like just a white dude.
No, there's like 10 degrees of being white.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, I mean, there's probably more than that, but I break everything down to 10 degrees. So I literally, like I said, we've talked about this before. You could go 10 degrees of whiteness, and I wish I could lay out. I thought about this before, laying it out for the 10 degrees of what would be the first degree of being white. You know, like I guess like the ultimate would be like I'm trying to think of the couple from Gilligan's Island. This is going way back, but like two rich ass people that literally don't have any idea what's going on with the rest of the people because they're so fucking rich, and then also like their kids are so money grubbing that they're willing to kill other family members for you know what I mean,
to get some more money.
No, I was thinking about this today about like our family doesn't really care about money that much.
No.
Like, and I know my kids don't, because if they did, they would get along with their grandparents better because they're millionaires. And they don't talk to, like Santana does. He talks to Keith and Maggie still, but the girls don't. They got their own issues, and they don't. But if you were in a money grubbing ass family, you would just get along with those people,
right?
Because you know they're gonna die, and you want to keep it cool, and you want to get that money.
Fucking make sure you got a relationship.
Yeah, you want to make sure. But I don't think I'm not like that. I don't care. If I don't want to be around you, I don't give a fuck how much money you have or what you can give me. I don't want to be around you. Like,
yeah, I'm definitely the same when it comes.
I don't
to
need
that.
shit. I'll get shit on my own. I don't need a lot. So. Yeah.
Jesus, that sounds just like me.
Yeah, and then I was telling you, as far as being like cultured and stuff too, like, well, you didn't go to Vegas a whole lot, but that's why I used to go to Vegas. It was basically like, I didn't think I was ever going to really travel around the world, nor do I really want to. Even if I had a lot of money, I'm not sure if I would. Like, maybe if I had the right chick or something, you know, or somebody that really wanted to do it, or like, it doesn't do anything for me to think of like, oh, I'd love to go to Greece and see the Parthenon, or
yeah,
I don't give a fuck.
There's some stuff that I would go see. But
like, what would you go see if you could go see something? Like, what do you think of when you're like, what like, okay, this is like, I hate bucket list stuff, but like, I mean, just like, oh, I would really like to go to this place, like, you know, other than like Glamis or fucking. Oh. I know you're not even a doombug here. I don't know why Glamis came into my head. But,
I've been there a bunch.
Yeah, I bet you have. I haven't.
Fucking, I don't know. I mean, it would probably come back down to the big fucking wonders, you know, like the Colosseum. I'd want to go fucking see the pyramids.
Yeah.
The big shit that's still unexplainable.
I just think of the crowds and the fucking people that are there and the smells. I know when people, there's, you know, world traveler people that are like really cultured. They don't ever talk about like, oh, it stinks over here. But like, I gotta believe that there's certain places like America is pretty, like pretty hygienic.
I was just gonna say we have our perfumes.
We got our funky ass people here, but
yeah.
For the most part, people are pretty hygienic.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I don't know if Europe's still like that because they used to get the rep of being like
the stinky,
no deodorant.
Like France.
France, just Europe in general, Germany, any of those places. So I don't know if they're like that anymore, but I can't imagine that the Middle East, some places in the Middle, unless you're in like fucking Dubai or something. So there's places in the Middle East that are badass, like that literally are like going to Vegas or
Right.
But
Well,
I mean, I like history. Like, do I want to go to Iraq and go look at old Babylonian? No, it's too dangerous there. I don't know if I can go there.
I was gonna say half of it is we might die.
Yeah, I don't want to go to Egypt. It just seems like it's too fucking dangerous. Like, it's too much bullshit there. Like,
I've heard bad things about tourists in Egypt.
yeah, just tourists anywhere. There's people that number one, I don't speak any other fucking languages. Like, I'm going to Puerto Vallarta in March for Rose Angel's wedding, and I know this is like a great place to be. It's a resort. I think the plane ticket's like $500. I just applied for my passport, so I'm waiting for the passport shit to come back, and then but I'm not all that excited about it. I mean, the airport doesn't excite. Once I do it all, I'm gonna be happy. I'm gonna be excited.
Sure.
But I always think of just all the worst shit that could happen. Like, and I'm not even taking no weed. Like I told Rose Angel, she's gonna have to like figure out to get the vape pens. She don't give a fuck. She'll take them. She's like, I'll take them. I already went to Mexico with the vape pens and stuff. Like, because it's like I don't want to hassle trying to score some shitty weed from some guy on a beach, or you know what I mean.
End
like,
up getting fucking
just,
roofied or something.
I just don't want to deal with no bullshit. Like, I mean, weed is weed, so it's not like fentanyl. It's not like you get weed. I know people say, "Oh, weed is." Nobody is lacing weed with fentanyl in Mexico.
No,
like,
it's not a thing.
I don't even know who the fuck would do it here. You really would have to go out of your way to fucking lace weed with fentanyl. Like,
Yeah.
I can see like lacing spice with fentanyl or something, because it's just already garbage to begin with. But you
Right.
don't have to fuck with weed. Like, I mean.
Well,
I
that's-
don't know.
But to go back to the short notice thing,
Oh yeah,
this is gonna sound stupid because it's a movie.
yeah,
But growing up with you guys, especially with the music that you guys kind of raised me on,
yeah.
I grew up on a lot of the old shit and a lot of the original shit, which I always thought was kind of fucking cool. That I knew most of it. It was always a big part of who I was music wise, like growing up and shit. I just fucking watched Straight Outta Compton.
Oh, okay. Like
And-
the movie with the Ice Cube's son.
Yeah. And
Yeah, I own that movie. Like,
dude, it's a fucking like they filled in a lot of little fucking pieces.
right.
And I was like, this is fucking brilliant. Like the story is amazing, dude.
The thing that was a little disturbing to me is that. So, do you remember the part where Suge Knight goes, "I'm gonna change you, Easy"?
Dude, I did because I
then
fucking
they
looked
beat
at
the
Jenny
dog
and I
shit
was
out
like,
of him?
yeah,
But I think in real life, I think they raped him.
that would explain why
Because
he
they
got.
kind of look like. Well, so Suge Knight says that he injected him with AIDS, and I don't think he would. I mean, it would be the most fucked up plot of all time for him to have an AIDS guy there to fuck Easy
Right.
to give him AIDS. I don't think. But I felt like in that scene they implied that he got raped. What did you feel like?
I honestly hadn't put that together till you said that.
Right, I'm gonna change you, Easy. Just those words alone are haunting.
The way that they fucking placed it so purposefully.
They beat him up, right?
Yeah,
And
beat the
then
shit out of
he's
him.
like with Jerry Heller, his manager,
Mm-hmm.
and he looks like, I want to get this motherfucker. Like, well, like I get it. Like, you get it beat up, but maybe that guy's a good actor too. I felt like he got raped, but maybe I'm reading a little bit. I think that they thought Suge Knight's a piece of garbage anyway, so anything's possible.
Well, no, because like, and they placed it when he was in the hospital, and like, forgive my literals, but he goes, "Doctor, I ain't no fag."
Oh,
Like,
but
and-
that's when he had AIDS or something, right?
that's
like,
when
that's
they-
not like directly after the Suge Knight scene. I don't
No,
think.
it's not. But that's when they diagnosed him.
Right. Well,
And he
he
was like, "I ain't no fag," and he's like, "Well, you can get it from heterosexual
Yeah,
sex too."
right. I mean, nobody was ever saying. I just felt like they abused him and so maybe they just beat the dog shit out of him. I don't fucking know. It just when I seen that scene, I was like, and I think I had heard rumors like that or something.
That's
like,
the only real scene like in the movie that implies that something bad was gonna happen.
Do you want a guy that's 6'5", 350 pounds to go? I'm gonna change.
I'm
you."
gonna
It's like,
change
There ain't
you.
shit you can do. Like, I mean,
No.
that's frightening. Like, that's worse than like fucking Freddy Krueger.
That's a good fucking point, though. I mean, I bet that's what they're implying.
That's what I thought, and I brought it up on when I watched that movie. I think Dev bought it for me because that's when I used to broadcast a lot of movies, and he was like insisting I needed to see this shit. I thought it was a pretty good movie, but yeah, I posted it on Facebook. Like, I had just seen the movie, and some people were like they had thought the same thing. Like, oh, maybe he did. I don't know, but I think people put the AIDS thing together too. Like, you got AIDS from getting raped, and it's like I think you got AIDS from fucking like 1,000 chicks.
I was
Like,
gonna say
yeah.
he probably fucked a
The
bunch
guy
of
was
chicks,
just sticking
too.
his dick in every fucking microwave he could. I mean, like, he
Right.
didn't give a fuck.
No.
You know, like nobody did back then. I didn't either. Like,
But that's kind of what I got my mind going. I was like, okay, well, a lot more of it makes sense to me because I was super young when all that shit was actually going down. But I was like, fuck, dude. Like, I started thinking about you, and you grew up fucking, 15 years before that shit started.
Those guys are like a year or two older than me. They're not that much older than me. Like Easy is maybe like 4 or 5 years older than me, but I don't know. Like a lot of those guys are about. I remember they had a fucking parade in my city, like in Norwalk, like for NWA or something for like because Norwalk would have a parade on Norwalk Boulevard. So yeah, no, I was around for all the original breaking shit in LA. Like New York had the wave first, and then LA was second.
What year were you born?
I was born in 71.
71.
So
okay.
around 80. Fuck.
So the 70s weren't necessarily your time period.
No, but I know a lot of music from the 70s. Like I know all that shit now, but at the time I didn't give a fuck about that because I was so concerned about my own shit.
Right.
Like I thought, rap was all new, hip hop was new.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I remember when it fucking came out, like hearing songs on the radio, like "Rapper's Delight," or there was first songs that just fucking came out. When Run DMC came out, that was the biggest shit. You should go back and listen to Run DMC, like "Raising Hell." Like they have a couple. I think "Rock the Bells" is LL Cool J, but there's a couple albums that Run DMC, they were fucking super popular. Like, so popular that I wouldn't ever want to listen to them again because they were on the radio so much. But,
fuck.
Yeah. Peter Piper picked pepper. It's one rock rhyme. Yeah. But in that era, I was a breaker. So, like, when I was about 12 years old, breaking, like, was so popular in Norwalk.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I always remembered that the gangbangers even stopped gangbanging for a while because everybody got into popping and breaking. Like where like other gangbangers would break against other, and it was cool because they'd be like, "Oh, it's cool," like like we're just breaking. Like I do remember like a year or two where it was pretty fucking cool until I just went out of style. But yeah, for a couple of years I was in a breaking group, and then after that breaking group, I was in a party group that promoted hip hop in Norwalk.
What?
Like,
do you know right around what year that was?
That was around like 83.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
so that
when
was
I
fucking
first,
early.
so if I was born in 71, about 12 years old. So yeah, 83. I was like in the breaking group, which was called Wild Style Crew, and most of those guys are dead. I mean, I'm even bullshitting. A lot of them are dead. I do know one guy that's still doing really great. Like he's a black guy with a ranch in Riverside.
No shit.
Yeah, no, he's a straight up black guy with lowriders and a ranch, but he has mariachis and like fucking. He's married to a Mexican. Like he's from Norwalk. Like all the black guys I grew up with, they're like, they embrace the Mexican culture. Like they not a single one of them did not. Like they would not survive there if they didn't. Like
if you we make a lot of jokes about it, but I've always been like really curious, and if it's not something you really want to get into, that's cool.
Yeah.
But if there was, would you say that like being in that party crew, you were dabbling in like dangerous territory, right?
Yeah, because like semi gangbangers. Like
I
a lot of the guys
gonna
I hung out with a lot of us were breakers that were just way into hip hop, and then a lot of guys we hung out with got into gangbanging too. But everybody at that time, gangbanging is super popular, and there's a lot of guys. Whatever neighborhood you grew up in, you might just embrace that neighborhood. You know. So I grew up in a neighborhood called Neighborhood. Like, yeah, I've always felt like the stupidest shit ever to call it, to put a V. So they put like Vadio Neighborhood, right?
Oh,
so
okay.
They'll put a V with a little squiggly line. I know all the gangbanging. When I see gangbang writing, I know it. I can read it like hieroglyphs. Like I know all the shit. So and they would put a V and then a Norwalk, like a Vadio Norwalk, and it's just like. Or Vadio Neighborhood, excuse me. There's two different gangs I'm talking about. Yeah, but it would be just neighborhood. Like it, yeah. It's just ridiculous. Like Tolos are not the smartest people. You know what I mean?
Well, it's kind of funny because in the movie they dabble on that.
Yeah.
He's like, we're fucking. What do you say? We're fucking gangbangers. We don't know how to read this shit.
Yeah.
Like he's like, motherfucker.
You know how to read people. You don't know how to read fucking documents.
Right.
You know, like if you're a gangbanger, or if you're a convict, or if you're on the streets. You know how to read people really well. Like, I mean, I grew up, that's a certain confidence that you have, like, or also just being in jail know how to read people. And I haven't been in jail a whole bunch, but my experience of being in LA County jail for a couple weeks my friends had all been in and out of jail. So going to jail wasn't a big surprise. And it wasn't like, there was nothing that surprised me in there because I had heard so many stories from all my friends of how to act, how you do things, what you know what I mean, like for me, being a half breed, you have to kind of choose. They don't make you choose, but you kind of know you either got to go white or Mexican,
Right.
one of the two,
You
right?
kind of have to.
I mean, when I was in there, and that was like 91. That's a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I was in there, they were building a secondary LA County jail across the street called the Towers.
Oh shit.
So I was in the old LA County jail. That I got lost in the system, but I wanted to go there. I wanted to see what it was like. Like it was almost being embedded, like I knew eventually I was going to end up there. And before that, I had been in a bunch of substations and stuff, like in Norwalk. Like I remember turning 18 and drinking beers with my friends in the parking lot that we always used to hang out in and shit. And like we would park our cars there, like when it's still daylight out. And we're drinking and waiting to just find out what's going to happen that night, right? Like this is way before the cell phone, so it's just hardwire fucking phones at people's houses, and some people don't even have a fucking phone, no pagers, none of that shit yet. So we would hang out in this parking lot and just wait, and then the police rolled up. And most of the time, when you're a juvenile, they just make you pour it out. They'll give you a hard time, but this time there's like oh, let me see your IDs and whatever. And I had just turned 18, and they're like, oh shit, you just turned 18. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And there's like, you're gonna go to jail. You're gonna go to the drunk tank tonight. And it's like, fuck, I wasn't even that drunk. I literally had drank like a 40 ounce. I had a good buzz.
Yeah.
So going to the drunk tank at like daylight, like 6 or 7 at night, maybe earlier, 5. So I'm the first guy in the drunk tank. And then the way it's built is on a spiral. So it's a round room. And it curves down like this to a drain. So
if you throw up in there and shit.
Yeah, because people are going to throw up at night or piss their pants or whatever. And then in the morning, those guys just come in and spray it all down into the fucking drain. But throughout that night, people started rolling in. Like it starts at about 10. And then it proceeds all the way till, and then so I had a blanket and a spot and everything. So there's like a ledge, a stone ledge that goes like this. And then there's another one on the bottom. So a lot of people could just sleep everywhere. You know what I mean? So yeah, I got my spot already, and then just watch guys roll in. And then other guys talk shit when those guys roll in, because they're like, they come in hot. You know what I mean? They come in like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And they're like, shut the fuck up.
They're already fucking mad.
Lay the fuck down. Yeah.
Why the fuck are you staring at me?
Yeah, lay the fuck down already. And then some guy might be throwing up or, so that was a good experience of just like, this is what a drunk tank is. This is what the Norwalk drunk tank is like.
So you were almost like, while you were involved in that shit, you were probably like one good fucking statement away from like being a full on gangbanger.
No, not really, because I mean, I grew up in a gang neighborhood, which is a majority Mexican neighborhood, even though they have half breeds, and they even had like every gang in LA, Mexican gang has a black guy too. They always have a token black guy. They have a token black guy, token white guy. So they'll always have a weddle of some sort. Mm-hmm. But if you're a white guy in some of those gangs, or even a half breed, or if you're light complected, you just get a lot of shit. They'll treat you like shit for a while. So I just never wanted to deal with any of that. The friends I hung out with, they were semi-gangbangers, had brothers that were gangbangers. Some of them from, some of my black friends, well, all my black friends from other cities. So they'd be from like Linwood or fucking L.A., downtown L.A., proper, or Compton, or some places. Compton wasn't that far from me. So like Linwood, people don't even know about Linwood, but Linwood's a bad city right next to Compton. Paramount. And people
Paramount, I've heard about that.
Yeah,
one.
Paramount. That's where your dad grew up at.
Yeah.
That's where your dad grew up in Paramount. So, yeah, I mean, I wasn't really a gangbanger. I would never specify myself. It's a serious thing to say you're a gangbanger. So when I first moved out here, and I would see anybody that even acted like they're a gangbanger or thought they're a gangbanger, to me it was just complete weak. And it was like it was fake. Because where I lived at, if you're a gangbanger or if you act like a gangbanger, you're 100% gonna get confronted. You can't just walk around and pretend you're a gangbanger and not have somebody confront you about that shit. And they always just like, where are you from? Like, where the fuck are you from? Like, they're looking for people to kick the shit out of.
Yeah, that's what they're doing.
Yeah, they're looking, and a wannabe, they will love to beat the fuck out of a wannabe, When I used to go, for a while we didn't have a phone, so I used to go to the phone booth, and I used to use the phone booth a lot. And when you're at the phone booth, you're always worried that you're gonna see a lowrider car. Like this is like some shit that probably never happens nowadays. I don't think, and maybe not here, but I just think that gangbanging is. I think it's underground and way different now. It's probably more about money. I don't even think that. You don't even see gangbangers. Like you see older gangbangers, like guys that are like, maybe out of prison or something. But you don't see, like, back when I was growing up, gangbangers are all over the place. They're in the streets. They're, like, but it became a time, especially in LA, that the MM made all these rules. They became a business. Once the Mexican mafia in prison took over the gangs on the streets in LA, it became a big business where all the gangs are gonna, well, no matter, it's like a mafia basically, a real mafia, where no matter what money they make, they're kicking back a certain amount. Every gang has a shot caller that has to do with their gang that's been in prison. If you're a legit gang, if you're not, you're like the orphans. You ever seen the Warriors? Like a gang that's complete, just outside of the loop.
I think Mexican Mafia or
the MM. Yeah.
What are they fucking called now? I can't remember.
Who? The Northern Mafia?
So people starts with an S.
I don't know.
I don't remember.
So, like, people get the Mexican Mafia mixed up with cartel shit or something, but the Mexican Mafia in California, they call it the Mexican Mafia. They structured that mafia after the Italian Mafia. So they call it the M, which just means the M.
Okay.
That's it. And in California, there's two Mexican mafias, which I heard recently that there's a truce between these two, and I have no idea. I don't know enough gangbangers at this point to know if this is true or not. So there's a split in California with Mexicans. So from Fresno on up, it's the Nuestra Familia, which is one of Michelle's uncles is from there. He did time in prison, like one of the Folsom or one of those prisons. But yeah, that's, I don't know. Like, now I'm so far out of that, I don't know.
I know. I can tell you, just because I work with police in close enough proximity that 90% of the shit that goes on around here, like gang wise, is all fucking cartel. They pretty much own the activity here.
I mean, yeah, I really don't know anybody that's involved in any, like, sometimes every once in a while I'd work with people that had some gang affiliation or something, but I mean, the only thing I know about here is that at one time or another, and this is a long time, this has got to be like 20 years ago or something, the Mexican Mafia in California, or in LA, in Southern California, used to run the prisons here. And then there was a time when the Arizona gangbangers got together and they basically like killed a bunch of guys from the MA here in the prisons, and to make a statement to say like, hey, we want to get recognized.
Like, get the fuck out.
Yeah. Well, what they did is just basically like say, hey, you guys made your point. Fucking, you guys can have, now you guys are the new MA. Like, you guys have, like, I don't think they mind. They just proved their point, and then they said, oh, that is your place. You know what I mean? So maybe they got a kickback. I don't know. There's negotiations between these fucking people, and it's because it's about business. When it all comes down to it, it's all business. It's about business,
yeah.
you know. I mean, when I was growing up, it wasn't about business. Those guys were just gangbanging for territory and turf. And
that's
like,
so crazy.
It was basically like the Warriors, but like the Cholo version of the Warriors. You know, like everybody had their neighborhoods, and if you ever go in those neighborhoods, like some guys would go there for like, you know, maybe you have a family member there, and you like go there for something. You're like sneaking in and out, or maybe you got a girl you're seeing that lives in that neighborhood or close to that neighborhood, and that's how guys get fucked up.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times.
Yeah.
And then some of those girls, they set guys up too, you know, because they're like, I fucking hate this particular guy, and they'll just have a
just bring him in,
hot chick that fucking and lures this fucker in, and yeah, like it was pretty brutal back then. I mean, but there wasn't a whole lot of shootings. I mean there was, but I mean it wasn't like LA when I was growing up there, and not particularly Norwalk, but like Compton, South Central, a lot of the East LA, a lot of the places that were really fucking super hot. Every weekend they'd have a murder count. You know, like, I mean, LA was really huge for on Sunday night. The news, here's the murder count in LA this weekend. You know, blah blah blah. I mean, it's not the only town. Philly was like that. You know, New York City, Baltimore,
Chicago,
all of them. They're all the same. They've always been the same.
Right.
You know, I mean, so.
The one thing I know, you said you were around for a lot of, like, just going back to kind of what I saw. Yeah. You were around for a lot of it. You saw a lot of it. To you, it probably doesn't seem like it's just a time frame for you, because you watched it all unfold. And
I love that time, at that era. I mean, I have a book in my head I want to write called Smog Not Fog, that I have the title already, and it's like I just want to talk about the breaking era in Norwalk, and then the hip hop era after that. Like, the hip hop era in Norwalk was pretty interesting.
What do they call it? I think they literally call it gangster rap.
Yeah, when it first came out, I guess, like the trying to think of the first gangster rap I heard was probably like Toddy T.
Yeah.
The Batter Ram.
Weirdly enough, dude, I have some of his shit on my phone.
Toddy T.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Fucking.
It's not that great, but it's like,
not, but it's good.
Like, yeah.
It's history.
Yeah, they talk about Bill Gates when he first came up with the Batter Ram. That's what that song's about. So Bill Gates used to have this tank that they built. The LAPD built this tank.
Is that in the movie?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, where
it's got that fucking pole on it.
Yeah, that's
they just fucking go through the house.
That's the battering ram.
Fuck,
yeah,
dude.
They instead of like, because these houses are so secured that they couldn't get into them,
right?
And they would just flush all the shit down the toilet before they ever got in.
Yeah.
That they were just like, fuck it, we're just gonna basically ram pack this place. Like they're basically in a fucking war, you know? Like that basically is against our constitutional rights for them to just break through your fucking house with a fucking battering ram.
The fucking dealer looks out the window and he goes, fuck, they got the ram. And they all just book it,
dude. You can't stop it, baby. The batter ram.
That thing was gnarly.
Yeah.
But towards the end of the movie, when they were showing all the riots in the streets,
yeah.
One thing that caught my eye, and I was kind of curious, they showed two dudes holding fucking their colors tied together.
Oh, okay.
Walking towards cops.
So if the Bloods and Crips got together at that time, yeah, like I mean,
is that a thing?
I think at one time they tried to have some kind of truce. There's a Red and Blue album that came out at one time. Like I think it was might have been in the 90s.
Well, wasn't Suge fucking red too?
Yeah, he was a Blood, I guess. Like I mean, all the Crip and Blood stuff is weird to me anyway. I mean,
Death Row was fucking Crip.
I don't think Dr. Dre was ever like a Crip.
Dre never really fucking did much.
And Ice Cube fucking really wasn't a Crip either. Ice Cube he went to like I think he went to the School of Performing Arts, and I think that did Easy go to the school? No, okay. I mean, I'm getting them mixed up, but I know Ice Cube had a decent upbringing. I know he grew up in South Central, but there's parts of South Central that aren't that bad.
Okay.
That I think he had two parents, a fucking good home. I think he was highly educated. He wrote a bunch of the shit for them. Easy was the one that was a dope dealer, you know, like in Compton. And Dr. Dre, he was just a talented guy that I think he had a brother that died early on.
Trayvon or something?
Yeah, that affected him big time.
That up.
Yeah, I don't know, but
I didn't know that until the fucking movie, which I feel like an asshole for.
Yeah, well, I think he made one of his albums. He made a song about his brother. Like
Shit.
it's on when he first started the Aftermath label. I used to own all the Dr. Dre shit when The Chronic came out. That you would not believe how big that album was. Like I mean, and how still to this day, it's pretty much a masterpiece for that era.
Dude, they could do a whole nother fucking movie just based on his shit alone.
Dr. Dre, yeah.
Right when they stopped, dude, they stopped right when Pac started. So if they play that fucking chapter.
Oh, so yeah, that's what I was thinking about. So Tupac is the guy that went to the School of Performing Arts. So he had two parents.
He's a fucking genius, dude.
He is, but he never was a gangbanger. So, like, to me, even when I was growing up, I kind of knew. Well, a lot of these rappers are not gangbangers.
Oh,
they
shit.
weren't. They might have. You know what they are? They're basically guys that they're street poets that can take in whatever's going on. And, like,
right.
I'm not saying that some of them aren't, but most gangbangers they're not artistic guys. They're like fucking guys that kick the shit out of people and like fucking posse up.
That's
and
what
like,
they do.
Yeah, they invite rap for fun, like, but the real artist guys, like, I always remember there's a movie, you know who Tribe Called Quest is?
Uh-huh.
So there's a movie with Q-Tip, the lead rap guy in Tribe Called Quest, where he's in prison, but he's an artistic guy, like he's like, he don't want to fight. He wants to just write rhymes and like, yeah, I wish I could remember the name of this movie because it's not a bad movie.
That's fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah.
What a fucking crazy outlook. Like,
yeah.
See, I kind of recognize a little bit that a lot of these guys, well, in the movie and even in history for me, they don't really highlight like how much actual gang shit they did.
Yeah,
except aside from like slinging shit here and there.
Like even like Snoop Dogg or something. I think he's just a guy that you can grow up in those neighborhoods. Doesn't mean you're actually affiliated. You know what I mean? There's guys that, so there's guys I knew that grew up in the neighborhood I grew up in that just because their family's in it, they're already in it. They don't have to ever get jumped in. But there's usually guys that are like on the outside that want to get in.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys that get jumped in.
Those guys are getting fucked up.
Yeah, and they want to. I knew a white guy that he ended up getting jumped in and jumped out later, and his name was Robert Collins. I always remember this guy. Pure white guy, but grew up in Norwalk. A Norwalk white guy is different than a fucking than a white guy in Utah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's a big fucking difference. They grew up with everybody. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, take a guy like Sean Strickland. You know who this guy is? The fighter from UFC, Sean Strickland.
Yeah.
He grew up in Orange County, but he grew up around a lot of Mexicans and shit too. You know, so it's like a cultured white guy. You know what I mean? But also can talk a lot of shit. You know, you grow up having. If you're a white person in LA, when I was growing up, you got to be able to fucking defend yourself, or you're just gonna get ran over. Because the minute they call you a white boy, there, it means you're a fucking pussy.
Right.
That's basically like. They call you white boy, that's saying you're a fucking pussy. That you're not going to defend yourself. So I grew up like that. Like, being a light complected guy, that's another thing. Being a light complected guy and around a lot of minorities, you have to kind of prove yourself, you know? Like,
Right.
hey, fuck you. Like, the first time somebody was like, fuck you, white boy, or something, I was like, hey, my fucking dad's Mexican. What the fuck? Like, yeah, it gets confusing, you know? I don't know. Hey, you ready to take a piss?
You got pissed?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right.